getting ready for my big interview.
Hello everyone, this is Daryl, and I have the opportunity to turn the camera around on my wife, my friend Jen online, and we're going to do something different, being today the last day of 2020. We're going to talk about and interview Jen on our travel experiences, things that we encountered through the pandemic in 2020 from an RV perspective, and just overall having opportunity to see the country in a limited capacity. So hope you guys enjoyed the video and look forward to presenting this to you. Hey Jen, how you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you, honey.
This is fun. I'm really looking forward to the interview, and I get a chance to turn the camera on you. So kind of starting things off, what would you say are the three most exciting experiences for this year from your perspective?
Wow, this year has been a crazy year. So, what are my top three special moments of this year? I'm assuming you mean involving the RV.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. I would say my very first is RV related top experience of this year is our initial trip down to Florida. We bought we live in Virginia, but we bought our RV from a dealership in Florida. The caveat for us buying the Leisure Travel was they had to keep it long enough to participate and take it to the big Tampa RV show. So they still had possession of it, and we were signing papers, and we had to actually go down to Florida and sign off on everything and actually see the unit. We bought it basically, sight unseen. So we took it was just a 24-hour really trip.
Friday night?
Yep, we left Friday night, flew down to Florida, spent the night, drove to Lakeland the next morning, and flew back out that same evening. So that was very exciting. This was all pre-COVID, so this was back in February. So that was pretty exciting. It's like, oh my goodness, we just kind of were, all of a sudden we had to buy our Leisure Travel now because, they took the Serenity off the production line, and Florida just happened to have a Serenity available. That's actually another video, that crazy story and how we got the Serenity. So that was the first thing for 2020. That was very exciting.
All right.
Now, the second was obviously COVID hit, and how we could travel was very limited, and things were changed dramatically throughout the world, really. So initially, when restrictions eased up, we decided that we would go to Niagara Falls. So that was the second most special thing involved in our RV and travel for 2020.
Fun. Great trip.
And Niagara Falls was so special because initially, when we were going to get married, we thought our honeymoon would be at Niagara Falls in October. That's another funny story, how everything changed as far as our wedding and
plans
and everything just kind of blew up. Everything blew up 2019. So everybody was experiencing some stuff in 2020. We were really experiencing some stuff in 2019. So that's right. Kind of when I don't know how to call it, that's kind of when our world kind of went upside down, starting January 1st, 2019.
That's
the
true.
world drastically changed for us, after that. And then 2020 hit. So we were going through some stuff even before 2020.
So we had no idea COVID was around the corner.
Right. So going to Niagara Falls this year was really special. It was our first big trip with the Leisure Travel, and it was great. It was, my first long ride, and the drive was just excellent, and I just really enjoyed having the vehicle, and we got so many compliments on our way up there and so many questions about our vehicle. And Niagara Falls was just beautiful. It was just so nice.
Yeah, must see. If you get out on the road, folks, definitely make a trip there. It's worth it. A lot to see, and just if you are on the United States side, a great experience, especially going under the waterfalls.
Right. And obviously we couldn't go to the Canadian side, but we did enjoy the New York side. We went under the waterfalls. We stayed at the KOA there, and we found this restaurant that we just, oh my God, the food was so good. We went there. We were only there for about, 2 nights, and we went there just about every night. It was so good. Yep. I highly recommend this restaurant if you're up there. It was so good. I ordered my favorite dish 2 nights in a row because it was just that good.
Yes, it was good.
My husband's potato, I collected my white tax. And I'm convinced they can't have any more cheese left in the kitchen because they put every bit of cheese in that potato. It's delicious.
They put their foot in that potato, huh? And then what would you say was your last one?
And my last one, oh my goodness, was going to South Carolina. We went to Hilton Head RV Park and Marina in South Carolina because I had saw it from, it's another RV channel called the Travel Bandits, and they are so funny, they are so hilarious, and they inspire me to want to get on the road. They're so funny, and they just do so much.
Great couple.
Yeah.
Great couple.
And they recommended that place, and I was like, honey, you've got to see this place. It's beautiful. It looks like this beautiful, pristine neighborhood, but instead of houses, it's just a driveway for your RV. And I was like, we've got to go there. So we decided we would go down there for our 1-year wedding anniversary, and we just had a great time. I mean, it was, in another video, I'm going to show you just how special that place was for us, but it's not going to be this video, so stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe and be on the lookout for that other video of why Hilton Head, South Carolina is so special to us.
And folks, if you get to Hilton Head, South Carolina, Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, you must partake in the local cuisine. I probably gained 10 pounds that weekend. Just kidding, but we enjoyed the food. It really was good.
And that's our other big thing. We got to eat when we get there. So.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we will tell you about all the good places to eat. So subscribe and find out.
So, honey, I guess my next question for you would be, we purchased the Serenity back in February here in 2020, and we previously owned, and I don't know if a lot of folks have seen our videos that were out earlier, that we had a Thor Freedom Traveler Class A RV. Moving to the Serenity Class C, 24.5 foot, what was the major difference in experience for you kind of moving down in size from a Class A to a Class C? What were some of your experiences?
So many. So I will basically talk about maybe the driving experience, because obviously storage and living space is completely different. But I think I'll answer that more as far as a driving perspective. As far as driving, the Thor Class A is like a bus, so it sits up much higher as far as driving. And this one is more like, I guess, a pickup truck or driving a van. So it sits down higher than your average car, but about the size of a decent, hefty size pickup truck. So when you're driving, you feel closer to the road, and it's almost like you're hugging the road a lot more than the Class A, where you're sitting up kind of high and you feel distance from the road. And in driving, the difference is, like, for instance, when the wind blows. So because you're closer to the road, you don't feel that shifting and swaying as you do when you're sitting up high in a Class A. So you just feel more at one with the road, and that makes a difference when conditions are windy, and then when conditions are wet. When you're dealing with a wet road, it just feels safer and more comfortable to be closer to the ground. And like, you just really notice the difference when a big gust of wind comes by. So it's a lot of shaking in a bigger class RV. And also with driving, just the sheer weight and the height and the wind. When you're driving an A, you feel like you're gripping the steering wheel, and it feels like you're using your entire upper body to almost like stabilize the vehicle. And I feel like your whole upper body is really tense when you're driving a large, heavy Class A. Driving this car, it feels more like driving an actual car. Like, you don't feel the weight of the whole vehicle in your hands and in your upper body. And because of that, it's been much better on my back. I don't feel so exhausted from driving, because driving almost feels like a workout when you're fighting the wind. Even if it's not a windy day, you're just fighting wind, drag, and resistance. So I don't feel as tense when I stop to get gas. I can really feel the difference. Like, my whole body starts to relax when I stop. But driving the Leisure Travel, it just feels like driving a regular car, so I don't feel as tense and exhausted, physically exhausted from driving. Ergo, I could drive, longer and not feel so tense and sore and exhausted.
And if I may just insert for a second with my input, of course, I have my built-in bias. I think the handling that Jen is talking about and speaking to, this is a Mercedes chassis that we have with the Leisure Travel. So it has electronic steering and a lot of nice Mercedes-like features. So I had to get a shameless plug-in for Mercedes. So
of course you did. And there she goes. Cancel.
What can I do for you?
Cancel.
Perfect. So we'll end that segment. Nice.
She's very sensitive. When she hears her name, she must respond. I think they're having an affair. I don't know. You better not.
Nice. So Jen, you talked about your experience with the leisure travel and moving away from the Class A to the Class C here. What advice or tips would you offer to folks out there that are looking at, do I buy Class A? Do I buy Class C? What might be the best fit for me? What would you say are 2 or 3 pointers that they should look out when they're looking at the RV market, where, as you know, a lot of folks have purchased RVs in 2020?
I would say, for the advice that I would give to others if they're thinking about switching from one class to another or just choosing for their first, is the first thing, think about what you want to do. Do you want to be like us, just kind of, for right now, weekend warriors, where you just want to take long weekends to kind of get in and get back? Do you want to be someone that wants to be on the road for weeks or months at a time? So that's the first thing. Think about what you want to do. If you want to be like us, kind of like all the time you have is a weekend or just a long weekend, then you want something a little bit more nimble, easy to pack your stuff up and go. When you have a big, large RVs, there's safety checks on every RV, but there's just a lot more checks on a bigger vehicle than there is a smaller vehicle. Because you have to think about the time it takes for you to get in and go, and the time for you to come back, unload, do everything, and get back home. And that adds time. So if you don't have a lot of time, you want something a little bit more nimble. But if your vehicle is stored, you want something that maybe you can have in your neighborhood to load up overnight and get going in the morning.
Gotcha.
So that's going to take up a lot of time. But if you have all the time in the world and you're going to be gone for weeks on end, then you may need something bigger where you can bring more stuff and you need more space and you need
How can
more.
I help you?
Cancel. And you need more of a living area. And obviously you want to think about how many people are going to be doing this stuff with you. Realistically, how many people? Because you could plan for, oh yeah, my kids are want to go. My kids are going to want to go. If they're teenagers, no, they don't. They don't want to go. They really don't.
Limited advice. They probably don't.
Yeah,
they don't want to hang out with mom and dad.
Exactly. If
Sure.
they're, family members that you think, oh, we'll hang out, this, that, they got jobs too. They got things to do. Your weekends are not going to coincide. So if 99% of the time it's just going to be you and your significant other, buy for that. If someone else wants to come, you'll figure out a way. Buy for yourself first. Don't buy for others. That's
great
definitely
advice.
the advice I would give you.
That is great advice. We want that 99 rule is working 100% for us. So
Exactly.
Great suggestions, honey.
So my main thing is think about what you want to do and think about how much time you have to actually do it, and then go from there.
What are some of the places that you have on our list for 2021? Because I haven't seen the list yet, folks. So who knows where we could wind up, going to Nebraska, or we could wind up somewhere in West Virginia. So what are you thinking, honey, for 2021?
For 2021, I hope everything will turn around and borders will be open, things will get better. So in my head, I have some big ideas. Probably the biggest is going to Canada. Not in the winter, obviously, but I would love to see Canada or drive up to Canada. It's supposed to be really beautiful there, and it just seems so grand and beautiful. I'd like to get a chance to practice my French a little bit. Je parle un peu de français.
We'll definitely go to Quebec.
And we'll see how far I can get with my French. The next stop is Texas. There are some RV spots that are right on the beach, and that's my dream, to just pull my RV right up on the beach and just chill, relax, and
That sounds good to me. I'm all in for that one.
All in?
All in. Texas all day. We'll do that. Hope you like the video. Tell your friend about it too. And honey, on to 2021.
On to 2021. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, just let me know down in the comments below, and I will get back to you on it. And appreciate you so much for watching.
Take care.